In May 1958, towards the end of a trip to the West Indies, Princess Margaret, the younger sister of Queen Elizabeth II, visited Belize. It was during that visit that the new Princess Margaret Drive in Kings Park was named in her honor. At that time, Belize was still a colony, with Sir Colin Thornley as governor. Princess Margaret's visit would mark the first of many royal visits to Belize during Queen Elizabeth's reign. But it wasn't until 1985, 4 years after Belize had attained political independence, that Her Majesty, the Queen, visited for the first time. She was welcomed by Belize's first Governor General, the late Dame Minita Gordon, at the Philip Goulson International Airport, and introduced to then Prime Minister, the late Sir Manuel Esquivel, and leaders of government.
God bless the Queen of Belize.
In Belize City, she was welcomed by the mayor, the late Frank Lizama, and school children who had spent many weeks rehearsing musical compositions by the future Governor General, Sir Colville Young, sang their hearts out to the Queen's delight. Steel pan players beat out lively music, also carefully arranged by Sir Colville. In Belmopan, she inspected a guard of honor mounted by the Belize Police Force. And inside the National Assembly building, former Prime Minister Sir Manuel Esquivel welcomed her.
Your Majesty, the people of Belize welcome you into our hearts and into our homes. Our land is your land. Our homes are your homes.
Following a state dinner at the government house in Belize City, Her Majesty addressed Belizeans.
Respect for moral and spiritual values and the rule of law have made this country a notable example of how freedom can work in practice. A climate has been created where personal initiative and free choice have become a pattern of life for every Belizean. What you have achieved augurs well for the future development of the nation, but it must be carefully nurtured and strengthened, and then passed on to future generations.
Later that evening, Her Majesty was entertained with cultural performances that went on well into the night. The following day, she took part in a ceremony in Orange Walk at the Queen Elizabeth Park, named after her on that occasion. The monarch would return to Belize less than 9 years later in 1994, this time with her husband, Prince Philip, and as history would have it, again under the reign of the UDP and Prime Minister Sir Manuel Esquivel. But by that time, Her Majesty's representative in Belize was Sir Colville Young, who was knighted on that occasion. Flanked by Prince Philip at her side, the Queen addressed Belizeans from inside the National Assembly. She highlighted that Belize was the first country whose Governor General had composed and arranged the songs that welcomed her. Her speech, though delivered 28 years ago, holds true even today.
Many of the changes which we have witnessed are to be applauded and encouraged. Many have helped the disadvantaged to achieve their proper place in society. But some, the increase in crime being an obvious example, have done damage to society, and it is up to us to keep that society strong enough to withstand any assault from whatever quarter. It is never enough to treat symptoms alone. Such measures as the strengthening of law enforcement agencies and criminal justice systems are worthwhile, but we must simultaneously look at the real roots of the disease. That often means a process of honest and sometimes uncomfortable self-examination by a nation as a whole. But Belize is capable of that.
Belize, Belize, for me and you. No matter where I go, no matter where I've been, I always come back to Belize again.
Then, in April 2001, the Queen's only daughter, Princess Anne, visited La Milpa, the third largest archaeological site found in Belize, as well as the La Milpa field station. She was also able to view samples of artifacts collected from archaeological digs of the Maya sites found on the Rio Bravo. And in March of 2002, Prince Andrew, Her Majesty's third child, visited Belize and opened Section 3 of the Southern Highway upgrading project, a stretch of road from the Bladen Bridge to the Big Creek Port. This came through a $26 million grant from the United Kingdom. He also opened the Princess Royal Youth Hostel classroom and library at Gracie Rock. And one member of the royal family, who is known for his outgoing character, Prince Harry, found it fitting to share a couple of dances with local Belizeans when he visited in 2012, and understandably so, because he was here for the occasion of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.